You may have seen that support for LGBTQ people in Canada is falling. So let's take a look at the polling and figure this out. One thing to note is that while it is falling, it's still pretty much in line with the 26-country average, meaning that the decline in support is not something that is just happening in Canada, it's something that's happening worldwide. And this can also partly be attributed to the rise in right-wing and conservative movements in many parts of the world. As for many people, economic and social values tend to get intertwined. But I do think that a lot of this decline comes from misperceptions. For example, an 11% decline in that LGBTQ people should be open about their sexual orientation or gender with everyone. I don't think that seeing this 11% decline is inherently an 11% decline in support for LGBTQ people as much as it is a lot of people who are stuck in this centrist worldview thinking, oh, well, things have gone too far, they're showing kids all this gay stuff in schools now. I think a lot of it comes from misinformation and misunderstanding. And so while this is not an actual decline in support for LGBTQ people, it is just the perception that some people have that some things have gone too far, whether or not that is true. Like, for example, the decline in support for more LGBTQ plus characters in film and TV might be coming from the fact that over the last 3 years, people have seen more LGBTQ plus characters in TV. And therefore, some people may feel as though it is less important to see that representation because it's already there, why support it? Although Canada's support for trans individuals does seem to be lower than the 26-country average. But 74% of Canadians still think that trans people deserve protection from discrimination. A lot of the other drops in support for trans people seem to be coming directly from culture war arguments, which once again to me indicates a lack of education and information, not an actual lack of support. People feel as though things are one way, whether or not that is the reality. And lastly, it's not really an age thing. Like, for example, support for protection against discrimination is actually highest amongst older Canadians, whereas support for trans individuals in healthcare is highest amongst young Canadians. And to me, this perfectly highlights the education piece. Younger Canadians don't see the importance of protection from discrimination because they grew up in an era where it wasn't as common. There's a lack of support for trans issues amongst older people because they just don't understand it, they haven't been educated on it. I'm not saying that there isn't a problem, but I do think that the problem is being misrepresented by our media. What do you think? Leave some comments down below.